Did you send out Zoom info?
Yep.
I sort of realized that this morning.
It's in the meeting invite.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. It's always the same ID, so that also helps.
Yeah, it does. Zoom is great.
Yeah, Zoom's cool. So I don't see anybody join, but I think that's okay. It's not time yet, but.
I don't know. Well, we did a lot of moving last Saturday. Yeah, that was a crazy day.
Back room looks nice.
Yeah, but we also have all the stuff here.
Yeah.
So that's something we can talk about today. Hoping that we can get a lot more vertical shelving back. And that's like all the boxes have had to on it.
And maybe getting a better locker system for it.
Yeah, I was thinking about lockers. And we have this, although that's another morning.
Lockers for what?
Or just better member storage, like maybe a lock.
I think for CCL, we're just gonna rent out lockers essentially.
Yeah.
Not do anything for free unless it's solely sort of like a.
But what do people do when they're
Same
bin
here.
overflow?
Currently?
Currently, you said about project lock, but if it's a bio, whatever project lock.
Yeah, it's pretty ad hoc right now, but we have to start charging for anything that requires space. So yeah, just like that. I took the how to make a makerspace class too. So they mentioned that you have to charge for anything that that needs space.
They were even charging when somebody brought them like this first sofa. They were calculating the service area and figuring out who brought in the sofa and charging them.
How are we doing financially? We haven't heard any money.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna. Yeah, that's the plan.
Well,
Valid question. And yeah, I wanted to bring up the storage option, like renting to the lab space as well.
It's actually kind of fun. They bought a portable burgers. It's intense. Yeah, it actually looks
Like this summer, we haven't done much with Singularity University. Joe, can you volunteer to run over and do?
They have a young person having something called Start High Bio, a similar space in Seattle, running their bio. Yeah, so.
She the one that gave the class?
Yes. So she's actually had 3 classes so far. They've been a little bit rough because she gave us one day notice.
Yeah.
One day notice. Actually, they got it working. And we talked to her about having 12 people come in as members, but we haven't heard anything back yet.
If you dark it down,
Wow, 12 people come in.
no. Now it's 1 month. If you dark it out, about a
still
year or two,
nice.
and talking about here, it's definitely glowing. You can see.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Now, how old is she? I mean, there was some issue about was she old enough? Or?
She said she was just short of
18. Oh, not California. They're renting a different space now.
Or 18.
Short of 18.
Yeah.
I thought you said.
I might have said that,
Let's do this. Stage 1 to eating competition.
Go.
Yeah.
1201.
12:01. All right.
Guys, are you going to join us, or are you going to be in the lab? Hey, Maria, you guys want some cookies? You guys going to join us, or?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Call order.
We're noon, we're getting started. How's traffic looking out there? Well, I had to bail off the freeway.
Really?
Yeah, I had to bail off the freeway because 280 coming this way, or 101 coming this way, was at a standstill.
Yeah.
Okay. Recording. Nobody's here yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. How's everybody doing?
We're here again.
I can't hear you. Louder. With some energy. Happy Saturday.
Document started?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite.
So we can go over some updates. We have a really great one. We've earned tax exemption in California, grandfathered from 2010. So if you're around the past year, as you have been, you know that we went through this, like having our business being suspended, having no idea what happened with our tax application. Somebody joined. Hi. And we've gotten our 501c3 application in. That was news months ago.
So we can have you, people can donate and we'll get that.
Yeah, so this is where like it's the complication of the federal versus state comes in. So we just got a letter from the Secretary of State that we have tax exemption and we've been tax exempt since 2010. We got a letter that we've been reinstated as a company. So everything's been in California, and our current status with the IRS is 501c3 pending. And there's actually a statement that I've sent to someone who's interested in donating. Actually, our past volunteer who got a job said she wanted to give back now, which was another awesome sort of thing.
Very nice.
Sarika Savant been trying to get a job for 7 years, and she finally got a job at Genentech. And they actually asked her about BioCurious, and they liked hearing that she was in a lab doing work rather than sitting at home watching TV, waiting to get a job. And yeah, so that's a really awesome story. And what I said to her was that it is at the risk of the donor that we have 501c3 pending, and that when we get 501c3, their donation will be grandfathered in. But if we don't get 501c3, then it won't be tax exempt. So we have to rely on us getting tax exemption to some extent, and we still haven't heard back from the IRS.
So people that really want to do deductions for tax reasons this year may not want to donate yet because we don't have 501c3.
Right. So it's their risk, and then we want to donate to another nonprofit. Hello. Who can
Donate to us.
exactly? Yeah, and we do have a handful of organizations like that. So
Some companies just use it as a way of checking that you're legit, essentially.
Yeah.
In that case, you submit it, they find it.
Like once it makes it like a week matches. So like as soon as that comes through, it'll start having some matches instead of just like
cool. Yeah, and they need 501c3, I'm guessing. So the other one is that we have liability insurance, which covers all ages.
Hey, sweet. Is that a pizza?
No, we're gonna way over here.
You find a person.
So insurance, that's cool.
Yeah, previous meeting, we weren't sure like how volunteers are, or like whether it's okay for them to volunteer in their own liability insurance, same for members, and that is a big risk. But now we have liability insurance.
And it covers kids being here for classes.
Yeah.
Make sure
Is that something that we would share? The insurance policy document, or
yeah, if you want to look at it. I want to have all these docs here, so I haven't scanned it. It's like
Well, I think it's just important that everyone knows that we are covered. If there's any issue. Other
yeah.
than that, I don't think any of us really care about it.
Where's
And I'm sure there's some sort of, it's like,
I actually expect you to read it.
oh,
I'm just kidding.
well, because you've got some sort of cap, and most people don't sue beyond the cap because they're not going to get anything. They're going to get insurance coverage.
There were some differences in how Matt was setting up the insurance for CCL. I don't remember exactly, but it was like covering damage to the property and stuff like that as well.
But you guys are,
we're in different situations, I'm sure, in this big shared space with a bunch of other students. So
Yeah.
you have to worry about like covering graffiti on the wall.
so it allows kids what? I'm just
Oh, so it should be covered under general liability if anything should happen to them. And once we get this room cleared out, I want to put all of our files in there so that you can access them when you need to. If you have any questions, paperwork. So, big win is classes have started back up. Maria, you want to say a couple words?
Well, since we got the insurance, once we realized we weren't covered under insurance at the moment, we cut all classes. We didn't have any really scheduled, but just to limit our liability and the liability of any instructors. So I'm working with Mark Kent to try to get not only Saturday science, which will not be in the morning, because we need somebody here with Mark on site because we do have kids on site, and I won't run that class without at least 2 adults here. And I'm happy to be the other one, but it's going to need to be Saturday afternoons. And we had a lot of enthusiasm about that last night from all the people who had kids there. Were really excited, and they're going to start promoting it on the homeschooling networks, which I'm not tied into at the moment, but that's our #1 avenue for getting people into those kind of classes. And there's a huge homeschooling community here, but they're very protective and they don't let people advertise on any of their message boards. Additionally, you and I and Mark talked about, since we didn't do a summer camp because we just didn't get everything aligned in time, we're going to instead try to do a 2-day, half-day winter camp that we want to start promoting now. I'll do up some flyers for it. What we're thinking is, a lot of kids are here over winter break, and it would be fun. We don't want to do a full week just because of how winter falls this year, but to have 2 4-hour days where they basically do 2 big experiments, 1 small experiment over 4 hours each day would be a lot of fun and something we could promote, because we need at least a 2 to 3 month lead time on that to get kids into it because of the cost of what we're going to try to price it at. And it'll be very beneficial for us and Mark.
So when would this be done?
Let me see what the date is going to be. It's the week after Christmas.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, it'll be the 29th and 30th of December.
Oh, so we can have BioCurious stocking stuffers.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do a lot of stuff. We figured there's a lot of marketing things we can do to try to promote getting kids in the lab.
Rudolph the bioengineered glowing reindeer.
Yeah.
Red-nosed reindeer.
And we already kind of scoped out what experiments we want to do. I think it'll be a good time. And the problem is we were thinking about doing a summer camp, but on 2 weeks' notice, there's no way we could get kids in here,
Sure.
organize it. I just was so stressed out about it, and Mark was stressed, so I killed it.
Yeah.
Josiah is set up to, right now, he's got the Iliad project, which we're going to be running every month. That is his personal project he's running out of NASA. Not at NASA, he's running it himself. He's been doing it for a while. It's a project to look at the antibacterial properties of plants and then put them into a communal database. When we ran the class last month, the response was really huge. The way we're going to be running that is every month when we have it, we'll have a class for anybody who hasn't taken it beforehand, and then a meetup for people to buy more kits and process them here and put info into the database. And we've got several people, including Paul Miller, who wants to do things like expand on the project already. So we're hoping to build it into a pseudo community project. It's going to take a fair bit of work probably for me and Josiah to do that. But instead of being weekly, having it monthly, I think we have a real opportunity to, because the threshold for using it is really appropriate for even grade school kids, again. It's, you know, another good community building activity. So we've got the next 2 scheduled. He's also working out the details on his microbiology techniques class. We've got the date for that set. I need to post that if someone wants to twist my arm about that. He and I are still working out pricing and some other things for materials. It's going to be a 2-day class going over basic microbiology techniques, you know, how to pour a plate, how to run a gel, how to do a PCR. I think he's being a little enthusiastic for how much we can get done in 2 days, so I'm trying to reel him back in, and it's going to take longer than you think to teach somebody to pipette. The interest, I think, is very high, but we'll still need to promote it. And I'm going to recommend we run that class, depending on his availability, about every 2 to 3 months.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Because I need to learn those things. Like
Yeah.
every 2 to 3 months. So.
And
Yeah.
a sense of the funds that certain classes have brought in.
Yes.
Baseline.
Yeah. So I had a spreadsheet which I can't get to right now, but it's if I can get to a laptop like Patrick's, I can share it with you. There's a Google Doc with all of the previous classes we had, what attendees there were, and what we made off of all of them. It hasn't been updated in about a year and a half because that's about when I stopped really being as involved with classes, and Christina and Jenny were running it more. But it'll give us a baseline to go forward about what we were making on classes, what instructor, because some of our instructors want to be paid, some of them don't, so it's a little back and forth. But, you know, if we're at full capacity for classes, or we're running, you know, 2 to 4 kids classes a month and 1 to 2 lab type classes, it generates approximately $1,000 to $1,500 a month of revenue. At one point,
Iliad brought in around 400.
Yeah, Iliad brought about 400. With going forward, that'll go down quite a bit because that was like the first run. I don't know that we're going to keep that number of attendees coming. But what we do want to do is keep it as a community meetup because we can convert a lot of those people into being members.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
I was going to ask you tracking conversions because that was our big.
Have not, no, but we are trying to get them, and we're trying to get people from even things like the Bioluminescence Project, you know, trying to push them into becoming community members. And we do seem, at least when we remember to, we have a pretty good conversion for the community projects right now of trying to push them to donate to the box. And so the donations, I think, have been steadily rising.
So
But we really have to keep that box like
Yes.
prominently visible.
It needs to be right, if you put it right
Preferably-
there on the corner, which we haven't done.
I wonder if we can make
On
it into
center
a table,
tables.
like a glass top, work on top of it, sign something inside.
Yeah. But when we do that, I mean, we've been getting, the last time I cleared out the box, it was about $300-400.
Yeah.
And if we do that about once every month or two, you know, the community, most of the community projects aren't using any lab resources, so they're almost pure profit, aside from electricity, and we have the lights on anyways in theory, because it gets people in here and
Yeah.
they're already gonna be using the lab, so, I know myself and Patrick feel a passion for community projects.
Yeah.
And a new person, Itai, really wants to restart the Bioluminescence Project. The big problem
Yeah.
there,
So there's actually 2 people that want to
Yeah.
get started. That might be the required critical mass actually.
he's extremely passionate about it and has been bugging us almost every other day about it. The problem is, the reason I haven't jumped on it as much as I should is because he's not here very long. He's here for another 3 weeks, then he goes to Israel, and then he starts at UC Davis.
Right.
So, yeah,
If he was just here, he himself has the drive to run it. And he feels passionate that we should be running a BioLoom project here. We'll
What's this
see.
other guy sitting on?
If SIBO was,
Said he wanted.
yeah,
okay, so that's one case where we can channel this enthusiasm into getting other people involved.
and that's what I told him is I'd help him run the first meeting, and he and I talked about that last night. So he had never seen the dinos, so I actually showed it to him, and he got like 10 times more excited.
So,
Oh my God, they are so bright. They're brighter than we've ever seen them. It turns out if you ignore them for like 5 months, they just perk right up.
like, stop ignoring me.
It turns out if you like shake them up several times a week, they're just expending too much energy or something.
So
How do
beyond
you, how do they determine when they glow? Is there any process they
Yes, they glow when agitated.
agitated?
So if,
And only during their night cycle.
and only 2 hours after their night cycle do they reach optimum glow. But he's got a lot of ideas for experiments already. So I'm going to try to do that. One thing we do want to get started, and I keep getting talks about, and I haven't gotten anybody pinned down about, is microbiology of the cell, which was ridiculously popular.
It's a microbiology.
Did you come when we were?
I phoned in for a few months and then my work life just.
Yeah, but it's such a great resource.
time, so one's entities, one's
And what we need to do is we either need to find some new instructors for that or help support the instructors we have.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a few names. So
Yeah.
for instructors for molecular biology classes,
Like we could use somebody to teach a GFP class.
GFP class, I think another adult for Saturday morning science.
Yes, if we had someone else to and we don't even need them to teach. I need somebody to man the front desk. And this is going to sound, I don't want this to go on the record, but I need a woman to man the front desk. If we're having kids classes taught by a man, we need to have a female on site. And I'm not going to be weird, but we've had 2 parents get weird about it's just weird, okay?
Gotcha.
If I'm here on site, it's not a problem, or if someone else is on site, but it would just be slightly preferable. And I think that's just the perception of having, and that class is like 90% girls.
But that brings up a good point because we just need more volunteers in general.
Yes, so I think that's a good segue into volunteers.
Well, let's finish glowing plant, biomonster,
Okay.
So glowing plant status is coming by.
They came last night.
Yeah, they came last night, but there isn't any continuing thing with glowing plant.
Not planned, but they did say, let us know what we can do to help people join BioCurious. So they're there, and they're also a great success story for BioCurious. That's why they're kind of listed there with BioMonster. I talked with Sunny, and she feels that they are a success story out of BioCurious, and we're arranging to have her come and give a talk in September.
Yeah,
and that's pretty inspirational one. Where she helped get funding and finish this project, and a really ambitious one. So they're done for the summer, and she's donating the bioreactor back to BioCurious.
Okay.
And so we're gonna have a big party and kind of launch the reactor here.
For glowing plants, are they anywhere close to putting together a bioreactor kit? Because we could test those for them.
Yeah.
So I talked to them last
Right
night, and they said they were seeking methods to involve the community, and so I gave them a few ideas. One of the ideas was to help them distribute the Kickstarter seeds. So take the seeds off the plants, put them in packages, things like that. Testing for GFP and assembling the biohacker kit would probably be a great way to involve people. So,
but I mean, testing whether it's user-friendly and all that.
Yeah.
Actually,
No,
running the biohacker kit to its spaces.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that would be a good collaboration. But they want to involve the community.
So real quick, for the class list that I have, previous classes we've run, I've added Patrick, Ari, and Tito. Did anyone else want access to that list of what we price stuff at and paid off things and build spreadsheet?
Sure.
I mean, it's not that exciting.
Well, yeah.
It would be helpful for me to see
Okay. See.
once I get to that point. It's above which.
So biomonster, excellent.
The biotechniques we already talked about.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely need to have something very basic, not just on specific techniques, but just how to work in a lab, sterile technique,
And that's
stuff like that.
that's kind of what we're that's what I'm negotiating with Josiah.
Yeah, that class is so tough.
Well, it is because he tried to put everything into it, and then I think he got a little. I tried to be politic about telling him, you just can't do it. I don't think you're estimating how hard.
So I don't think that's so much the problem. I think one thing that needs to be thought about is teaming the really boring, stupid stuff with the really exciting things.
Yes.
So pipetting and PCR probably should go together because no one will come for just a pipetting class.
Yes.
And I definitely testament to that because people were, I had like 3 people here and they were like, wow, you know what? I never realized it was actually so complex to do it correctly. And I'm like, yeah. And so, but no one wanted to really come. So you have to think about that.
And that's
the same thing with the GFP class.
Right.
I mean, those are always started with, this is what a pipette looks like, here's how you hold it.
Right. This is what the
Practice,
numbers
transfer
mean.
a couple droplets.
Right.
Yeah, no, and I'm trying to do that a little more with our classes than we've done in the past because he also wants to run an Arduino class. Mm-hmm. And I told him I won't run a class where we basically sit here and hand everybody an Arduino because we did that 3 times with Burrito to limited success. I mean, it was great, but it was very chaotic. and it didn't really work. And I said, what we need to do is we need a project people build that we help them build that's interesting to do with the Arduino. And so he has 2 ideas for 2 different things we can build.
Because of the sous or.
Some kids. And I talked with the Nomiku sous vide people. They're happy to do another class. So sous vide is an immersion for basically.
Yeah, and the Nomiku is doing very, very well. I know a lot of people who have them.
And they said they'll give us a discount.
They did,
First classes.
it was one of our first classes here. It was one of our most successful classes here.
It was the first class they did too.
Yeah, and they had put together an Arduino-based or a sous vide kit to do low-temperature water bath cooking, where you use an Arduino to control anything, whether it's a crock pot, a deep fryer, and temperature control it to slow cook meats or other things. And we did a great 6-hour class that was completely chaotic but so much fun. Their product got so popular, they actually did a Kickstarter that got a couple of $100,000, and they now have an actual product they sell on the market at several stores called the Nomiku. It's a put in a pot and just clip it onto a pot sous vide cooker that is fantastic.
They made it to the White House Maker Fair.
Yeah.
Did really well. I realized we skipped over to welcoming new members, so I'd like to go back to that, and then we can go to events. Yeah. Well, since our last meeting, which was in May, we've had 11 new members sign up.
Yay!
Sweet.
Can you tell us who they are?
Yeah, so Josiah, whom everybody knows now because he's a super energetic member, very present. Colin Golder, who's under 18, and he's coming in with his mom to do work, student member. And actually, 2 of our previous volunteers, Meenakshi and Lafia, just signed up as members. So they're student members to have worked that out with them. They wanted to do lab work. And
So when you say student member, is that
so
price?
that's a $50 rate, yeah. And at the time when they transferred, or not transferred, but legally we can't give volunteers membership because it appears as we're paying them. It doesn't matter if it's not money, we can paying them. So we offer, like, if there's anything we can do to help you do that. So that's a special situation.
Should we have something a bit more formal and visible about half-price memberships?
I don't know. That's a good question.
So Hacker Dojo has this application form that's specifically for students.
Right.
So they have to fill out the form, they have to say what school they're in. I don't know if you can even ask for a transcript or something. I think that. But
It's a great idea.
it's formalized and it makes it seem like it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed you're going to get this. You're going to have to make a case for why you should be getting it.
Totally. I think that is great. One thing we're not doing enough of is like allowing people to like submit their information to BioCurious in a more normal way, or just to share their story even. Like, when we talk about volunteers, it's the same sort of thing. I like it if people could offer what skills they have rather than it being sort of ad hoc. But yeah, I think that's cool. Tito got it.
So what do you want on the form for membership?
So it'd be nice to have something that's actually online where people can find it. And that's a form that they would fill out, give their information, give some justification for why they feel they should get a discounted membership eventually.
Yeah, it could just be a Google form. So name, age, school, study, or what do you study? Why do you want to be a volunteer? Like, what do you think you're a member?
Yeah.
Like,
Why
what
do you think you would be an asset to our community?
you offer? Yeah. So,
If you're a starving biohacker that's in between jobs, sort of.
so are you creating
should
one,
be able to
Eric?
go through this.
I'm writing down the things you guys are saying.
So yeah, I think once we have a form and it's shared, then we can adapt it at will, which is great. Okay. So Catriona Guthrie's, so she's the girl at SU this summer. So she's joining so she can more appropriately run classes. So crossing over into classes update, she held 3 classes last month. So that has brought in about $1,000, and 500 of it has been paid. About 500 more is to be paid.
Nice.
I'll give a financial update later. And then yesterday, Jennifer and Zakia signed up. So Kyle Mears, actually Maria's member. she hadn't signed membership docs. And then Reacha Shaw, who is a student at SJSU, student member, and Beltran Rodriguez, great program. You've probably seen them around the world.
I don't know if I'm documented. I might not be
Document.
You need your shots. Is that interesting?
Get access to the members list.
We have pizza, cookies.
Hey!
Yeah. Come and help us finish this pizza.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
Hey, good. Hi. So should we move on to the...
There were two other updates about Maker Faire. There's one about
Oh, yeah. So congratulations, our Maker Faire booth got 2 major awards, Best in Show and Editor's Choice. Got the ribbons.
We've done it the last several years.
Displayed a bit more prominently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another sort of lab improvement.
Actually, after this meeting, I was thinking if I could find things, I want to start hanging some stuff up.
We could just hang it from the banner.
Yeah, even that previous years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We
Right,
can kind of.
Yeah, we can make a shift to dollars. Get like a little shadow box there for them, but it prints out what it is from. Otherwise, it looks like okay, what's the other update?
biohazardous waste disposal.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that was the cost. I haven't heard anything on that in a while.
Yeah, so Stericycle was pretty expensive, and so we moved to a new one called Converge Medical.
Okay.
They're going to be coming weekly, and it's $60 a week.
And what is the first
That we can afford.
The first pickup is Tuesday, and they're going to pick up every Tuesday. Stericycle, I think, was about double.
over 500?
Yeah, so 520 months.
Now,
So
note on that form that they sent us, there are some like training classes that are on there as well.
right, so they offer
So-
for
That is an extra $50.
right. We don't have that.
Yeah.
I sent
I
around
think
this.
Stericycle was including those automatically.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and we couldn't do it in the
Wow. Really? So that's where the cost was.
Yeah, and we never actually use those training classes. It might be nice to actually have one or two people
They were
through them.
charging us an extra $40 a month.
Okay.
Maybe you can negotiate.
Those are really nice.
Do we know what time they're coming?
No. That's
we have
questions.
the ability to change that.
Oh, thank you.
And they also mentioned if we ever need to change the day, just to email them a week before.
And another cool update is that last Saturday, back room,
Yes,
cleaned house.
Yeah.
Not taking a look.
not just the black room, the black room and. Hey, come on here.
Cages.
Back, liberated. I'm gonna put that in notes.
I was gonna say,
sort of.
and the cage was just about as bad. I mean, between the two, although we kind of refilled up the cage a little bit, but we actually have room to put the trash in there. Until we deal with that.
And if you didn't get Maria's email, this office to the left is full of pipette tips and such. Last night, I had and
It was a good, sorry, I was there, so it was very, very good show up last night.
yeah. By the way, you did a great job with Tristan at the front desk.
Yeah, you rocked
Maria did a great job giving the intro. I heard positive feedback afterward. Thank you all for being there and helping. And with the back room, so we've still got some work to do. And if you're handy, this might be a good opportunity for you to pitch in some ideas. I think we could really use vertical shelving in the back to get some of the often used consumables like pipette tips and roll plates that we just have a ton of. We don't want to get rid of them, we just want to get them out of the way. We have so much wall space that we can use. There are already holes in the back, so it was something that was done before we.
Yeah.
If you're interested in doing that, speak up, you'll put it in the notes to share. And then when we get that room cleared out, it would be really cool to make it a rentable office. And people have been renting lab space. We haven't had any inquiries on offices, but there are sites like liquidspace.com where they're going for $50 an hour for hundreds of dollars a day. And if we can do that, 1 or 2 days a month, that's really positive for us. So that is some future improvement.
So I noticed we did the big cleanup on Saturday, and we piled a bunch of stuff into trash cans, including, it turns out, of some of our neighbor. When I was here on Thursday, it looked like a lot of the trash cans looked empty. I assumed they were all going to be like that.
Yeah, they should have been.
But I mean, I followed and I opened it. It looked like the same boxes we had now.
We were here Tuesday, so we're going to come up and pick up Monday.
We pulled stuff up on Tuesday then.
So maybe it was just you stuff, I guess. But I noticed that our neighbor, their stuff was full of, it looked like our boxes.
Oh, so
Okay, did they make a complaint or anything?
No,
Oh, okay, just- okay.
yeah, so Shirai is moving to Morgan Hill. So actually our satellite dish for Ethernet Network, the internet, is shared with them. So Dave Rombach knows about it, and he's going to come down later this week and work it out. So it turns out he's now working for a satellite company in Morgan Hill, and he wants to see if they can offer us a deal, and if so, then he'll be our service rep. So he'll be able to come back and get paid for it. Yeah, so Shirai is switching offices. That might just be all there. And then a lot of stuff we had sitting out, some of it's been taken by random people. And then
Because
it was posted on Craigslist.
Nice. And Teeter and his friend Jeff packed a bunch of it into the, yeah, so I don't know.
So sorry, the entropy of the cage has gone up.
That's
Okay.
How about this? There was room to pack things in there, which it's all the stuff in the front, so we can pull it out for you.
Yeah, so we're really moving forward.
So speaking of the cage, while we're on the topic, I did email Raymond about the benches we took down. Told him to come get the little bikes, and the QPCR is still in question. What's the deal with that? You said it was donated by somebody else.
Yeah, that was
Raymond's
sent by
claiming-
John Solendorn.
Okay.
And John didn't want it. Raymond wants it. It's not.
Well, I mean, we could also have a class to have it. So
Yeah.
so it could be a usable sort of.
John would love that. I imagine.
Harder
Plastic
seeing
part.
ingredients.
I'm sorry.
Harder to see ingredients in a QPCR.
Yeah, actually, I'm sure there's a bunch of filters. There's got to be, I'm sure there's a lot of useful parts. So we could probably have this.
Did you reply to the message?
No, after I said the QPCR was in question, he didn't say anything. In fact, I'm going to give him a date pretty soon. You're going to be out.
I don't know what will help, but
In the meantime, could we even just slide that?
Okay.
Can we slide the cabinets on into the back room?
Just the whole thing.
The whole
wire
shelf.
rack?
Yeah, the wire rack is on.
Oh yeah, totally. Except for the QPCR machine, I don't know what you want to do with that. Anyway, we should add that to the whole thing. We need dates, like some of the instruments. I know there's one in that room right there that I'm responsible for. There's another 2 or 3 instruments that are semi-functional that we need dates to get them out or fixed because they're just taking up the day.
So when I was in New Mexico at the other hackerspace, they had a really nice system for dealing with that because they have so much space. They've really gotten almost more out of control than we are. And I stole a bunch of their tags so we can use them. And you can tag things with just really big fluorescent tags saying, this is donated, it must go by this date, or use it, or this is, available for use, or this has been claimed and is, lab property.
Okay.
And I was thinking we should just tag the heck out of everything in here so he knows who everything belongs to, what's functional, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, although ideally I'd like to have no non-functional equipment on the lab floor.
Yeah, I would really like to, because I mean we got duplicates in the back room. We got things that don't quite work as well as they should. So, and the duplicates we probably should maybe save one for spare and give it the others away. I mean, I think we have
how many vortexers do we have?
Well, vortexers are kind of nice to have, lots of extras. But like sonicators, I think we have 5 sonicators. You don't need 5 sonicators.
We need maybe 2.
2, yeah, 2.
So can we get a date, like another sort of lab engagement?
Yeah, I think
Saturday
that's
and
what
do
I'm,
that?
that's what I'm saying.
So,
So let's
so the sonicators you're talking about are these the jewelry cleaners or the professional sonicators?
both. I'm saying there's 2 big sonicators, and I think there's a medium, and then there's 2 small things like that.
Because I wouldn't mind taking one of the jewelry cleaners
Yeah, I think
over to CCL.
I think
Yeah, I have a problem in
so. I brought some of those too.
Yeah, I think it was trying to get to everything so that we could actually see what equipment we have, and that's probably phase 2.
I didn't even know we had sonicators. Real ones.
Hey guys, can I interrupt here? This is Shashank. We should talk. Hi guys. Hi. On a question of equipment, I think before we start deciding what we're going to throw out and what we're going to keep, obviously things don't work. We should do something about it. But if it's a question of duplicates, let's understand what the various levels are. Just to take an example of sonicators, they have various power strengths, and I would hate to see for us to lose the higher powered ones go away because nobody actually looked at it and said, hey, it looks like a sonicator. So it might be a better idea to if we had an inventory of all our equipment that we have and then make a decision. And Eric, I think you should lead that and identify these make sense and these don't make sense.
I agree with you, Shashank. I believe we do have an inventory of most of the things we have in-house.
Okay.
But we also need to decide on, mostly I want to decide on some of the things that have just been sitting and not repaired or not used or things like that, things that are just kind of sitting around. And not to say we shouldn't have a hackable pile of things that people can kind of dive into.
But we need to create that and know that it's a hackable pile.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think just general idea, if we know what we are doing, what equipment we are throwing and what we are keeping, that's a good idea.
Right, I think it'll be clearly listed. I think we need to say, hey, here's your 30-day warning.
Yep. The other issue, Ire, if you could allow me, was can we have a list that any of us or volunteers should put up? Who are the members? Just a physical list up at every month, updated every month, so that we know who is entering the lab, who's a member and who's not. Well, I'm here typically, and I try to deal with visitors and members as appropriate, but I also don't know who's a member at times. Given that you're doing such a great job with getting new members, it makes sense that we should have an updated list out there.
Yeah, Emily, do you want to help with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Lastly, Tito and I had talked about it earlier. I think I'm happy to hear that we are reinstating at least this afternoon coverage of volunteers to man the front desk. But if there is some delay in that program, then we should think about a box that Tito and I had talked about for FedEx deliveries, because that is becoming a major issue for members who are getting stuff delivered. And a lot of these places don't even that we order from don't tell us when the stuff is going to arrive, so people can't be here personally. And Shurai, since they are moving, they have been very kind to us. They would receive some of our stuff when we are not here. But and also the fact, it's coupled with the fact that some of our members do not keep the doors open when they're inside. So it's an issue. We need to address somehow that delivery issue at some point in time. So done, no decision right now, but I think something to keep in mind, Tito, please, you may want to take an action on that if volunteer programs takes a while.
If you want me to, I can help. Even though I'm volunteer, I can do this on Tuesdays and Fridays. During the day. Sure. Here from 10 onwards.
Yeah, I mean, we were meeting to talk about volunteer stuff anyway. I mean, we talked about that briefly. So we have insurance now, so we can begin to work on that. I think it was just a matter of bandwidth that we're not really doing this. We could definitely use help with people who are willing to like find and train new volunteers. Just like with the student membership, if you have an application process. Some people in the past were happy to volunteer, but not happy to volunteer with everything. And that is the sort of thing that should be discovered very early on. And Dave, for instance, I think it's a great example of somebody who wanted to offer his tech skills in a specific way. He did a great job handling our intranet and all of our problems with the IT guys, IT needs. And if you are interested in that, I'll be helping coordinate the kickoff of the new volunteer program. Let me know. And I know Joe, for example, you've been volunteering for a long time. I'd love to just chat with you for half an hour about like what are the major pros and cons, and to chat with some of the other volunteering and see where we can go with that. So right now there are gaps, obviously, and it's good to hear like what are the biggest shortcomings of those gaps. Like, is it to greet new people or take packages? Because everything that we do to get new members requires work, obviously. So I think it's good to think through what is the value of having people at the front desk in addition, versus like having a slave system where the FedEx person has a code to get in. But yeah, regardless, volunteers are awesome, of course, and we want to work on that system. So offer your time and energy to keep this program on.
Are we going to move to a system where there'll be a code or a card you use to get in rather than a key?
Not promised, but I really like that. So actually today I've been meaning to look at the door because a friend of mine just put in the system that we wanted that was supposed to cost us thousands, and he did it for $200. So the shape of the door matters. So I've got to go and check out that. Yeah, it's partially like we had $1,000 to throw at everything. The answer is yes, but not just.
We're talking about that lock phone.
Actually, a slave system. So it's similar, but it's less like Kickstarter-y.
Code?
Yeah, so it's code. So you can give out hundreds of codes. You can have the code expire at any time. People can get different codes. You have a code for 2 hours if you have somebody cleaning, for example. Make sure that people don't get in from midnight to 5 a.m. if that's what you want.
You can track who came when.
I think that would be such a great add-on, so that's on my wish list. So any other questions or comments about volunteers?
Sorry, what was the service that you just mentioned?
Oh, for the door? Schlage. So it's a type
Oh,
of
yeah. So, as I said, if you guys need me to, even though I'm technically not a volunteer, I'm willing to help whenever I can.
Thank you.
Just in prior.
Why are you not a volunteer? Because you haven't been properly trained or what?
Yeah, it's just because the program hasn't.
We haven't run a volunteer training. We need to have a more formalized form they fill out that says what like the membership agreement, but for volunteers.
Exactly.
We do have a Google form.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
mean, we need to develop the training for them to make them understand how the lab works, like the dangers in the lab, how they're going to help out members when there's problems.
How to deal with safety issues as far as if an accident happens.
You're on the group.
Planning.
Okay. Then can somebody edit the group? I mean,
Oh, just the email list? Are you in it?
No.
Okay, I can add you. That's also, Emmy has been doing a great job keeping up our members list and being here. Like last night, she helped like, however many people, 100 people come in.
Same last Thursday with the German guys.
Oh yeah, so that was one of our events.
Or very strange events.
With anchovy eggplant pizza.
That's what they actually brought.
Not anchovy, it was jalapeno
Oh,
eggplant.
sorry.
Jalapeno breaded eggplant.
It was breaded deep fried eggplant on top of a pizza.
Wow.
What's wrong with trying new things?
BioCurious. That's what they were saying.
BioCurious, yeah.
No, they were thinking vegetarians just order everything except the normal toppings.
Of course, anchovies are vegetarian.
Yeah.
Going back to the volunteers, do we know what time like UPS and FedEx typically show up?
10 a.m.
Around them.
Well, we can also, yeah. I mean, generally we've staffed from noon onwards, and most of the FedEx and UPS drivers will learn if you open at noon to do an afternoon delivery for you.
The problem is we're not reliably open.
But yes,
Right.
so when we were reliably open from noon onwards, it wasn't a problem. And the big thing is when somebody's getting something shipped that needs to go into the -20 or the freezers,
Right.
it can't wait 3 days
Yeah,
to
it
pick
can't
up.
just be left out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, what Shashank and I talked about was getting a metal box with a lock on it that the FedEx driver would have a two or something.
Yeah, because we don't
Deposit
get,
packages in there. It's not a perfect solution, and it would be for either
Yeah, but
person,
not
but
about
I think it could help. Could help a lot of things.
yeah, it could be a good stopgap until we get, because our goal,
Yeah.
I think, should be to be fully staffed, because I think that for a lot of reasons, having a staff member up there just helps for so many different things. Just the perception of people who want to stop in, you know, for people who are in the lab, just to kind of keep an eye on things, and for safety issues, if somebody isn't working alone in the lab.
So one of the things for volunteers is they get to put their volunteer stuff on their resume. Another thing for volunteers, and I think this would be sort of the carrot, right, is giving them access to some of the classes we have here, just to increase their skills in how the lab works, right? So that might be part of the carrot. Like, hey, this is more about safety. Hey, this is how autoclaves work. Hey, this is how, the members should be put here. This is all about the waste streams we have at BioCurious, things like that. So
That
that
would
would
make them a much better volunteer.
Yeah.
right, exactly,
And that's
exactly.
what we've really lacked.
Classes might work, but we have to really worry about making it seamless if it's payment for services rendered.
Right, well, we could say
It's
that
volunteer training.
certain, that certain
Right.
classes are required to be a volunteer.
Hey, don't say it's required. Say
Encouraged.
Encouraged.
Yes.
I guess.
Right, sure.
It's a way for us to help them to be better volunteers.
Right,
Right.
exactly. It's not about payment. It's about making them a volunteer, better
We're
volunteer.
talking about avoiding making it look like we're paying them.
Because the big thing is we're not going to allow them to have the carrot of free membership anymore.
Right.
So although in general, we do have a fair number of people who, seem to want to be involved, and the membership either isn't or hasn't been the reason for wanting to volunteer. So,
In the beginning, that was mostly the case.
well, I think, yeah.
And I think that it has emerged as a very interesting value for the resume that people have been getting jobs, and we're talking about BioCurious, so that's it's a really great one that we can help people with. And I believe that there is some grant funding for this in addition to do kind of reskilling. And while you're introducing new skills to people who are looking for jobs, you can also just get them on the radar of the companies. So there might be simply corporate sponsorship opportunities or real grant funding. So things to think about if that's up your alley. We can certainly use funding for these sorts of programs.
Everything, funding for everything.
Absolutely. We're doing amazing classes and community projects, helping people with resumes, etc. Okay, so I'd like to give a financial update, sort of back of the envelope. We have around 6,800 cash in the bank, and including checks here. So glad you clapped at that. I've been like, I don't know, but it's stable.
Better than emergency meetings, or we say.
So, yeah. Okay. So in addition to that, we have about 1,000 to be deposited. That's around 500 from SU's last classes, and membership fees that just haven't been deposited yet. So we've got the checks there. And with random donations around here, we have around 8K within easy reach. So that for us. Okay, so that's the cash situation. And our burn rate is around $4,500 per month. The cash revenue that we're getting from members, since we have 33 monthly members, but some of those are student members, and we have 3 annual members, so all that cash comes in one lump sum. Basically, they pay $1,000 for 12 months in advance, and we have 8 lifetime members who no longer pay. So that was given during Kickstarter. So we have around $3,300 a month on average coming in. So this doesn't include class membership, or I'm sorry, class revenue. So without classes, we have a shortfall of about $1,200 per month. And there are a couple of things that we can do. Classes are already beginning to pick up. Membership has been picking up, and that's been really great. It comes with its own costs, more electricity use, more reagent use. Storage will grow, and that's another area where we can begin charging for member storage and grandfather current members in. For example, maybe get lockers that people rent out. CCL is going to do. So I think we can overcome that shortfall with a few classes and no members or a balance between the two. And with our current shortfall of about $1,000, $1,200 per month, that means that if there were no classes, no further donations, then we'd run for about 4 months. Just so you have that in mind. And
so we're not out of crisis yet, but we're
doing better. Since we've been meeting this year, we have been stable. We've, I think, reduced our expenses just a little bit. And importantly, we do have at least a $1,300 bill with Stericycle settle up. So they had done some improper charging of us, so we haven't paid our last bill. They did their last pickup this week, so we'll be settling that and trying to cut it down a little bit. And yeah, stability is important because we did pay around $4,500 to a firm in order to take care of our 501c3 paperwork. And now that tax exemption is in place, and we know that we don't owe past taxes, it means that we don't have that financial baggage hanging over us. And
which is very huge,
promising. It's really big.
So any donations allowed?
They will be grandfathered back if we get 501c3, since the track record of the firm that we hired is they've never had anyone who hired them not get 501c3 status on their first try. It's very promising, but we
don't have that
yet. We cannot promise.
However, we're tax exempt, which means we're not paying our taxes.
Right.
Which makes a big difference.
And that we don't owe any. Yeah. So this is wonderful. And great. I think that's it on financial update. What's next?
That's it.
Great.
Hey, we made it in time.
Yeah,
4 minutes to spare.
Yay!
Let's do it.
We didn't really talk about marketing.
We did not.
So we can start up. I do obviously put that on hold because we had a lot of pressing issues and not enough people to deal with it. So.
Oh yeah, so I also wanted to mention Patrick's worked really hard on bylaws and of course has lots of experience with getting CCL up and running, and so we had a chat about what are your current thoughts on bylaws, and we want to let you know that we are thinking about all of these things and definitely prioritize financial and corporate okayness. But importantly, we need to get a larger board and have certain committees, advisory and otherwise. And in about a month, in about a month, we're going to be meeting and planning for the phase of adding more people in, because it shouldn't just be us. That's just sort of a luck of the draw, if you will. And so I like the way that Patrick said it. Do some soul searching if this is all of interest to you, and think about whether you'd like to be part of a board, advisory committee, or otherwise. And yeah, we'll try to stay as open and communication as possible, and hope that you do the same and let us know your questions, concerns, etc. Let us know how we can better stay in touch, communicate, transparent, all that. Nope. Are we done?
On marketing, I noticed.
Marketing, yes.
On marketing, I noticed we were getting this email from this woman at Yelp wanting to talk to us.
And
I
they want our
assume-
money.
Huh?
Yeah.
I assume they want to sell us some enhanced package or something, but I didn't know if
She
it
wanted
was
to sell us
worth.
advertising.
Huh?
She wanted to sell us advertising.
Right, when you look at when Yelp review, they'll show related business.
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was any element we might want to, improve.
I think additional marketing would be great. One big part of that is we've had success stories coming out, and the way that people who don't know BioCurious think about it is, oh great, like what do people do there? What have they done? Have you had any companies come out? That's what people always want to hear. So what companies are people doing? And that's frustrating on its own. However, we have had great companies and projects coming out. We have great projects here, and those are things that we really want to elevate. And I mean, you're here and people are curious about what's going on. If you've got a company, as some of you have, like, let us know if you want to be featured. I think Tito might be interested in like getting the success stories from certain projects like Glowing Plant, like Bio on Star, like BioPrinter, and our other
Vegan cheese
community projects, and the ongoing success of vegan cheese. Absolutely. On that note, actually, related to all of this, the PBS NewsHour wants to come on Thursday and film. So they're doing a special on biohacking and
With daunting music or happy
yeah,
music?
daunting music.
That's the question you should ask them. Is your music daunting or happy? No, daunting, of course. And you're like, delete.
They've actually covered DIY bio before a long time.
Yeah.
So,
With daunting music? With daunting music, I'm pretty sure.
oh, have you seen it?
Yeah, don't say biohacking. Say like this.
Yeah.
It'll,
I don't know.
I think it was possible.
Yeah.
So hopefully, more to see.
Citizen empowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sweet. And vegan cheese has gotten amazing recognition.
Yeah.
I hope you're all following the project. It raised over $23,000. And the original goal was $15K. Still got a week to go.
So we're,
Whole Foods is
so
waiting
apparently
for-
we're
come up with a
we're
product.
the most successful crowdfunded item ever.
The
Oh, yeah.
only successful ever.
The only most.
Yeah, they
But there have been other
they
crowdfunding.
made
yeah.
a good decision
Well,
in
it'd be
letting
like
in
6,
community
7,000 or
labs.
something.
The
Wow.
nardwall cheese.
But
Good stuff.
And we're going for a big ass bioreactor next, maybe like 50-liter one.
bad.
That's cool.
Not bad.
So on the PBS, we're gonna set that up, or we're gonna have people lined up to be here to put that in.
Yeah, that's a huge marketing thing. We should light up people.
Yeah.
That's your be to line up.
Yeah, so we wanna contact people. They can come Thursday night.
because they want to film the bioprinter meeting, right?
And chat with some people. And so we want to get the word out so that people who aren't comfortable with that don't necessarily come, or they hide, and that others who would like to
Or
make it
they're aware that, I don't think we should encourage them to hide, but I think we can make them aware that they are perfectly happy to be here, but we can keep the cameras off.
I will be hiding, meanwhile.
You hide the QP starters. Empty it out.
We now have an empty back room you can be in.
No. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And he's talked with Drew Endy, who is a fan of ours. We're over official time, so at the Techonomy, the Biotechonomy, which was their first bio-related conference, Drew Endy really kicked things off. And this this reporter who's interviewing him on stage basically lambasted community lab. He said, this little bio clubs, And Drew came back in his response and he said, we've been organizing things in biotech the same way for a long time, and there are a lot of problems with that. Biggest thing that we could use is experimentation in the way things that are, the way that bio is organized. For instance, labs like BioCurious. And that was, I think, a really awesome thing to hear from Drew Endy, who's one of these like biggest voices in synthetic biology.
So during that entire day-long conference, I think BioCurious got mentioned like 4 or 5 times, and even Coach Labs like 2 or 3 times as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great day.
I think we have the big take home is we have momentum to build on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's worldwide momentum. That's the one thing I wanted to add. So I got to visit Copenhagen, Denmark for the European Open Science Festival.
Like our AAAS, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it was a very interesting meeting. I also got to visit La Paillasse in Paris, which is, they're just opening a giant new lab, and also Copen Lab, which is a temporary lab that they had set up in Copenhagen. So just first off, like everybody, it was crazy. Like everybody knew what BioCurious was. They would see my name badge and be like, "Oh, BioCurious!" Like, which was, to me, it was like, wow, like you go halfway around the world and you don't know what it is. So that was cool, and definitely everybody, all the community labs around that I visited were totally aware about, BioCurious and what was happening. And I think there's a lot of global energy going into starting up community labs everywhere.
It absolutely is.
Yeah,
La
I think
Paillasse is now the biggest biohacker space in the world, right?
Yeah, once they open.
yeah.
well,
Well,
they have something that's open.
They've got a whole temple that's amazing. It's so they have this huge room that's I think it's like 10,000 square feet or something overall.
before I forget to mention
Really
it,
cool.
did you know, or have we told folks that we are listed in the current Make magazine issue as one of the top maker spaces in the country?
Cool. How freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, by the way, we're listed.
Yeah.
I was
FYI.
looking because I don't know, but I was looking because my friends in New Mexico are promoting the heck out of the fact that they, for the West Regional or Central Region, they're one of the top tier listed maker spaces as well. And I was like, well, and I was looking through the list, and I'm like, oh hey, we're listed. Did we know that?
No, you think that
Or
they at
Dale
least
and
give us
asking
the
for
heads up. Oh,
Yeah.
BioCurious will also be in a book called Maker to Pro. That's what it's called, right? John Vitale, who used to run the blog at Make, still runs the blog at Make, decided to do a book. So he asked for stories from different people on how their project went from Maker to Pro. So ours is just about he asked us for this specifically. So what is DIY Bio? What is BioCurious? How can you transform your project at BioCurious into professional? He asked for open PCR also. So that'll be out.
Also, BioCurious was featured in the movie Play.
Oh yeah.
Maker. It's Maker Fair. It was clear also in the trailer, and I think it's going to be some. I think your friend Barry
Yeah.
has a copy. If we can get the screening here, because that's
Yeah.
very good idea.
Yeah. And if we can get some of that copy from the trailer to put in our own
The
video,
trailer,
we don't have
the
yet,
trailer
but we'll
is
help.
on YouTube. You can find
Okay.
on YouTube.
So we just need to ask permission, I guess, to snip some of it.
Cool.
Do you have any video people here?
Yes, I'm still here. And I just before I leave, Iri, I want to congratulate everybody here. I think in the fact that if I look back 6 months ago when we first started having these meetings, the issue was survival, and I think we are approaching from your report today stability in our finances and a really joyous outlook on this kind of stuff that is going on here. I think the next goals for us in the next meeting should also be some discussion towards, truly what can we do as distributed or focused efforts into making sure we are financially stable and at equilibrium, and what kind of metrics, as my friend Tito had pointed out this last week, that we will measure ourselves going forward in the sense of this many number of people who came in and they got educated, this many number of interesting projects are going on, this sort of things are going on. And I think we need to keep some goals also for us. So I think it's a joyous time today to again congratulate ourselves that we have been able to reach a point where survival doesn't seem like an issue. And I think going forward, what other great things are going to happen at BioCurious? That should be a part of our community meeting, and discussion of those goals would be. If you could lead that, I would appreciate that. That's it.
I was going to say, Emmy, that might be a good one we could talk with you about doing some metrics on things, because you have a lot of the data points, and she would be somebody that would be perfect for sitting there and trying to figure out, how many people have come in, new visitors we've had, that sort of thing.
You up for that?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, let's think about ways to do that. Let's have a volunteer meeting planning soon, and a list of
People
ways
who are
that we can
interested,
progress.
and it's people who are interested in volunteering.
We set a date?
Yeah.
Let's set a date. Let's set several dates. Date for the next meeting.
And a date for the next lab improvement hands-on day. Like, is that a peanut day, or is that more of a?
Well, you have to have a carrot and a stick, right? So we have to have some nice event that's happening. Not many.
Went to the BioSalon last time. Plenty of people showed up to clean up.
I'm sorry?
Plenty of people showed up to clean up. They didn't really ask for.
Yeah.
There might be
I was
something
pretty-
cool about that.
Yeah, the carrot might be.
During the BioMonster donation.
Okay, that's
Same day.
Like as we make space for it, we also like test equipment, market,
Sure,
David,
sure.
try.
Sounds good. What date is that?
We haven't said it yet, but we were thinking early September. So if we did it on a Saturday,
Here it is.
it might be tiring.
13th? 20th? Yeah.
Does the first week work?
No, not
Yeah,
13th.
I know Sunny mentioned the first week of September. In that case, we might not want to make it exactly the same day.
Okay.
Why don't we do it on Labor Day?
No,
I think
everyone's
people will
out
be
on
on
Labor Day.
vacation.
Burning Man.
Oh, that vacation. Are you going?
Oh, of course.
You are?
Well, I go every year.
Really? I tried to go last year and had to work instead.
Burning Man?
So
Never been.
let's do the lab cleanup on the 13th. Yeah.
Of what?
September.
Oh, so I was going to say August 13th is a Wednesday.
What?
That's fine. What time? Like last time from 2 or we can make it from 12?
Or you could ask them.
The 12th. So.
No. I mean the time.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
12.
make
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
Yeah, but you
It's a
can't
bad
really
idea
tweak
because-
this.
No, you want to tweak this one.
But it doesn't have like the link. Everything. Yeah.
If you want to, I can like do the Twitter and Facebook dates, pages too. So.
Oh yeah. I'll add you. So I have to add you to the volunteer people group and then social media.
Yes.
So do we want to? How much cleanup are we going to do? Can we have a speaker on that day?
Yeah, I mean, let's make a list of what we need to do. So testing equipment is one. I'd like to put up shelving at the same time.
If we can get enough people, we can divide into teams like we did, which worked pretty well.
Yeah.
I would go for no more than a 3-hour block. So a 2 to 3 hour block.
Shelving and testing equipment, that would probably fit in the same 2 to 3 hour block. We might be able to fit some little bitty thing.
If we get another 10 to 15 people, we can really.
Yeah, 10 to 15 people. A lot of stuff. So.
Well, I mean, we had a total of 15 this last time, and you saw what we got done, which was madness.
That was more like.
Yeah, well, the official meeting is over. So let's.
Meeting's over.
We're
What we
just
talking about
putting
next?
dates.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Well, I was going to try and schedule the
I need to
next
date for next BioSalon.
community meeting, 2 months out.
next BioSalon?
It's going to be the same day.
Oh, it is going to be. That's fine.
What day were we talking about for the next meeting?
The
The next
13th of September.
September.
13.
Okay, and the next
What
post.
about meeting you said?
I'm looking at the next community meeting like this would be October 5th, or let's see, October 4th would be Saturday.
Hey, Joe.
That seems,
Jim?
Hi, Jim.
that's November.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's November.
Yeah. Okay. It'll be free item. Cool. I'll sign up to the site.
October when?
October 4th.
Emmy, do you know how many people actually were here last night? Because I didn't get a head count.
I didn't get a bit of, but I remember it was like good, beautiful sheet of.
That's crazy. See you, Shank.
We did email me.
I knew it was more than
Or
40.
is he
What time?
I mean, there were about 15 from the German.
No, last
What?
night.
Well, last night, I wasn't here for that. Oh, yeah, the glowing plant, how was that?